work out very well. And so at the core of everything is really a strategy, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But there are a lot of techniques and tips, and you can throw spaghetti against the wall, but at the core is really a strategy, and that's what we've been developing here at the Elevation Group. And so building that team is critical. So one of the things that you get access to all the lessons that are in there. EVG Live, which happens regularly, new content, and then the Rolodex, which might be the most important thing. So, for example, when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I know we were at Robert Kiyosaki's staff meeting actually fairly recently, and we're big fans of his work, but you don't know how to do it. Well, everything that we do, we give you the Rolodex to be able to do. And so we want to make sure that it's a complete piece. So that's really two things that I find most exciting. Is one, the best financial education you can, and how do you put together a team that is playing from the same playbook?
Yeah, absolutely. And the neat part about this journey for me has been, again, the period in time that we're living through. And essentially, we're facing two very dynamic powers right now. And yeah, guys, I think we've got a power cord coming to Robert. And just FYI, okay. Mine is not working in that power strip. I don't think it's turned on. And nope. Yep, there it is. Now it's working. Okay. See, we told you it was live and kind of impromptu stuff here. So
authentic and clumsy.
Yes. We're really dealing with two massive powers that are trying to play out here around the world, and that is deflation and essentially the unwinding of trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of debt and derivatives, which are, in the process, should they unwind and the economy deflate, it would take the world into the next Great Depression. That would make the first one look like a picnic. And essentially the system would reset, and it would be a very chaotic, not so fun of a time socially, as far as social unrest goes, crime and things like that. And that's what's trying to happen right now. That's what nature wants to do. That's what the free market system wants to do. On the other hand, you have the government and the Federal Reserve specifically, who, in order to battle those deflationary powers, is printing more and more money or currency. And they're doing it at records that have never been seen before in the history of mankind. That's what quantitative 1 has been, quantitative 2, quantitative easing 1, 2, and 3. And essentially the Fed is just out there printing trillions of dollars. And the analogy that I use is pretend the economy is a giant balloon, and it's got a pinhole leak in it, and the air is seeping out, and the balloon's starting to shrink, which would represent deflation and a depression. And so Ben is back there with his air pump, continually trying to pump more air into the balloon to keep it stable and in stasis. Well, history dictates, about 3,000 to 4,000 years of financial history dictates that process comes to an end, and it usually comes to an end very quickly and very tragically. And so there's one of two outcomes. We either fall into depression, or if the government keeps printing, the only outcome that is possible is the destruction of the value of the dollar, which is through inflation, eventually resulting in hyperinflation. And most people don't know this, but the United States has already gone through hyperinflation twice. It was during the Civil War and during the Revolutionary War, and that's really the reason why we don't use greenbacks here as our currency anymore. And that's unfortunately the direction that we're headed in. So the blueprint that we've created over the past 4 years has really incorporated strategies and investments and assets that are designed to do well to the best of our ability and our advisor team's ability to do well no matter what happens. We've got the deflationary side covered if that should happen. We've got the hyperinflationary side covered should that happen. And then we tend to live in the middle with really safe conservative assets, tangible things like apartment complexes or precious metals, gold and silver, whatever it may be. And the result have been those numbers. We had them written up there earlier, but the 77% average return per year.
And that's documented by Tom Wheelwright, our CPA. Yeah. But and we've got a lot of questions coming in, which is really exciting.
Yep.
But let's touch on this really quickly, and then let's start with Janet's question.
Great.
So at the center, we have a cash flow banking system. This is the strategy that Mike has really been using. Mine's a little bit different. And you can see both Mike's strategy and my strategy within the member section of the Elevation Group. So he has a cash flow banking system in the middle, which that's explained by some of our partners, like Patrick, inside. And again, it's kind of like a savings account on steroids, because in deflation,